Can I see the letter, please?
Okay. Thank you.
Now, I've seen this letter, just to be clear. Is that Ashley?
It is.
Now, this is a part of the letter which matters. He said he didn't say Happy Christmas or give me any presents. He didn't say Happy Birthday or give me anything. The first time I have heard from him since we argued in November was when he sent me a birthday card. I didn't hear from him again until a christening, by which time he had got married. And he didn't even attempt to talk to me or apologise to me. I think it's really unfair he doesn't pay anything towards me, because my mother has had to struggle to pay for everything herself.
I think she's more hurt more than anything that he hasn't made any effort to ring her, contact her. I mean, there's Facebook these days. His mum lives 10 minutes away from me. She has got a new mobile number, but he has got my landline.
Point is, you can phone the house. You don't need to be Hercule Poirot to get in touch with your daughter.
Exactly.
Now, just for the avoidance of doubt, when is Chris's contribution supposed to end? At what age?
The child support agency based that on when she actually finishes her college work. So it can run until she's 20.
That's right. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah.
And you're correct on those papers. Now, before I come to a decision, Chris, I don't want to be unfair to you. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, I would. I contributed since I left Ashley's mother. I'd also like to add that when I was paying the weekly money to Ashley's mum, sometimes her mum or Ashley would turn around and say, can you take me shopping on a weekend when you have me? And I'd go and pay, take shopping and pay for stuff out of my own pocket, never take it out of the money that I was giving to her mum for the maintenance.
Trudy, Chris, the two of you, despite having a relationship which fell apart, produced one extraordinary thing, which is the first, second and third most important feature of this case, and that's Ashley, who is an extraordinary young person. I find with no difficulty that the reason that she has grown up so well is because of the amazing contribution that's been made largely by you, Trudy, and by her extraordinary grandmother who's over there. A contribution which, frankly, Chris, you ought to thank both of them for, because the reality is that when a father isn't present physically, a lot of the time, what happens, not always, but what happens is a lot worse than the amazing product of Ashley. Now, Chris, I want to be clear. I see deadbeat dads in my court, the worst kind, and I do not categorise you in that group. At the beginning, it seems to me that you did not your best, but you did what you could within the money, the time, and frankly, the upbringing you had available to you to contribute to your daughter. But the reality was, there came a time when it wasn't enough. Following on from that, rather than making regular payments, rather than doing your best to settle things and to be reasonable when you couldn't afford to pay, for example, get in touch with Trudy or Wendy and say, this is difficult, can I do something else, provide time, etc. Instead, you either buried your head in the sand, you ignored it, or, in some instances, financially in any event, you disappeared altogether. Now, the help I have here is that I have an independent agency that's taken all of your phone calls, all of the evidence you've provided into account, and come to a view that the total liability that you have for not paying regularly, although you did pay some, in many instances, a lot over the years, is £7,492.26. Now, Trudy, you've done something unusual. Bearing in mind the situation that you now find yourself in, you have decided to bring this claim within the maximum of this court's gift. In other words, to say, I'm happy to forgo a lot of what I might be entitled to in order for this dispute to be dealt with by me. And therefore, you've limited and restricted your claim to £5,000 and are happy to forgive Chris the rest of the debt on the basis that you think that this money is important in order to secure Ashley's immediate future. To that extent, bearing in mind the third-party material I've had and Chris's evidence, which I've heard, and especially his submissions or lack of submissions to the CSA, I'm satisfied that you're entitled to that full amount of £5,000, and this court awards you that sum. Now, Chris, that's the award, £5,000.
Thank you.
That's a start. Chris, you're a man of few words, and I understand that. You're a man's man. You've got a daughter here who, from everything she says to me, from how she writes to me, loves you deeply. In the event that you've not been able to provide money, it seems to me that all she really wants is your unfettered, focused time. And that, I assure you, is worth a great deal more than money, because generally speaking, you can always make more money. As you know, certainly, Grandma,
Right.
you can't make more time. That's the award of this court, £5,000. For more Judge Rinder cases, click here. And if you've got a legal issue yourself, get in touch with us by clicking over here.